good day to you wherever you're watching me from. This is First Lady Fashion and Style, and thank you for clicking on this channel. Now, this is a request from one of my very beautiful subscribers for you to see that I'm thinking about you. She requested for a skirt. Actually, this is supposed to be part of the things we learn in our paid classes, but I'm bringing it to you because you requested for it, and I'm going to make this video just to honor you. And I believe that every other person that's going to learn from this video, please just let me know in the comment section if you actually enjoy the class and if actually you really understand how we teach in this academy. I'm just going to show you a bit of how we teach in the academy. So today we are making a skirt, and what is special about this skirt is that it has a lot of things you're going to learn from it. So the first thing you're going to learn from this skirt is you're going to learn how to make a bum illusion. We all have bum. That is why some people, when you wear your skirts and you want to sit down, it becomes tight because they did not add a bum illusion. Your bum illusion will make your skirts to be more comfortable when you wear it. And then for us that we have a big behind, it is very comfortable, and that is how you should make all your skirts. So you're going to learn how to put illusion. The second thing you're going to learn how to do is you are going to learn how to, now this is one of my students' work, and I'm so proud of her work. You can see that I don't mind how she used a separate color of zip and lining. It's because she's practicing, so she just used the material she has. Look at this vent, neatly done. I am so proud of her work. I'm so proud of her work. And you can also do this. See, this is the inside, neatly done, neatly done. And look at the waist. It is a bandless skirt. She did an inseam finishing. Can you believe that a beginner will do this? Yes, I can believe it because one of my students did it. She is a beginner, and then she learned from our videos. That is why our videos, even teenagers can learn and do well. Even beginners can learn and do well. See, the inside very neat. Look at it with lining. Look at the back. Look at the zip. This is very neat. This is beautiful. Look at the vent. Well done. I'm so proud of her work. This is another kind of skirt with the band. Look at this one. Look at the way the band of this one is fixed to the lining. This is another way of fixing this is a band. The other one is a bandless one. This also has a vent at the back. So not to waste your time, we are making this. So I'm going to be using this beautiful damask. This is the damask. You need 1.5 yards for this, and then a matching zip. You can use the short one. I did not get the color I wanted, so you can use the short one, but just make sure that you use a very good zip, a matching thread, your lining, and your hair stay. Please make sure those are complete. For the first thing we are going to do in this video is we are going to do the drafting. So the drafting of the video first, and then after the drafting, we will go on to the sewing of the dress. So right now, I'm going to take off one of my paper. I would always tell you that pattern drafting is the best for you if you want to learn any style and fashion. So the first thing we'll need our measurement. So this is the measurement we will be using. For the length of the skirt, we are using 27. For the waist of the skirt, the hip, the knee length. Somebody will ask me, why do we need a knee length for short skirts? I'll let you know that. Then we have something we call the bum length. The bum length is from your waist. You will measure from the waist to the back. You will measure from the waist and move it down to where the bum stops. And wherever the bum stops, that will be your bum length. Let me quickly use this, my friend here, to explain what I mean. Now, this is what I am saying. You measure from your waist, and then you put it like this to where the bum stop, and that is where your bum length is. We need all that for our skirt to be perfectly drafted. So the next thing we need here is our nipple to nipple measurement. So somebody will say you are sewing a skirt. Why do you need nipple to nipple measurement? Because we need it to place our dart. So you don't have to tell your client what you are doing. Just take it immediately and then we move on. So let's go to the drafting proper. So right now this is my paper. I have 1 inch here. This 1 inch here is the border line. That is my starting line. So right now we will work on the side. Now this side here, you're saying, is going to be my center front. It's going to be my center front. So after the border line, the first thing we need to take is let's look at the length we are using. The length of this skirt is going to be 26. So from the border line here, I'm going to go all the way down and I'm going to mark my 26 here. 26. So, or I'm using 27, sorry. I'm using 27. So for my border line here, I'm going to do 27. And then I will move it some few lines away, and then I'm just trying to mark my length, the length of the skirt from the starting point. Now, that is my 27 line. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I am going to mark out my hip measurement, the hip circumference. Now the hip circumference is the biggest. You have for your horizontal, you have your waist, you have your hip. The hip is the biggest. So I'm going to measure my hip length. My hip length is, okay, let me start from my waist since I'm starting from up here. Now from the center here, I'm marking my waist measurement from here. I'm marking my waist measurement. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what is your waist measurement? Okay, what is your waist measurement? My waist measurement, the waist measurement I'm using is waist 36. Now you're going to divide that 36, you're going to divide it by 4. And if I divide that 36 by 4, I'm going to get 9. Now, from the middle here, this side is going to be on fold. That means that I'm not going to cut the front. So I'm going to measure 9 all the way to this place, 9. This is my 9 here. Now I'm going to add 1 inch, which makes 10. What is this 1 inch for? It's for the dart. The skirt I'm making is going to have a dart here, in front here. So I'm adding 1 inch. That 1 inch is for the dart. Now, the next, that is for my waist measurement. So the next measurement I'm going to take here, I'm going to come here again, is I'm going to take my hip measurement from the top. So now my hip measurement here from my waist is 9. So I'm just going to mark the horizontal line here, 9. I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect the line together. I'm just ruling this way. I have not measured anything here. I'm just ruling this way, 9. So now, for us to get a perfect curve by the side, I'm going to add another line. I want you to watch this closely. This is how I teach my students and they get it well. Now, from any measurement you have on your hip line, you go up by 2. Just go up by 2 inches, and then you would mark that 2 inches this way. Can you see that this is my hip? This is the 2 inches I went up by. Now it is on that line here that I will take my hip measurement. But before I take my hip measurement, I want to take another horizontal line, which I am going to need, and I will tell you why I need it. This skirt is not a long skirt. If it's a long pencil skirt, then we need our nail measurement. But this is a short skirt, but I'm still going to input my nail measurement because I need it for something, and I'm going to show you. So from the line up, I'm going to measure my nail measurement, which is 21 inches, and I'm going to mark it this way because I want to have a straight line. So you can see now. Now let me mark it for you so that you can understand what I'm doing. Now this is the waistline here. This is my hip line here. And this is the other hip line. This here is my nail line, and this is my full length here. So let's move on. The next thing I'm going to do now is, here I have taken my waist measurement plus 1, which is my dart intake. Now on this line that I took, I'm going to input my hip measurement divided by 4. My hip measurement is 46. The one I'm using here is 46, and then I'm going to put 46. If I divide it by 4, I'm going to get 11.5. So this is 11.5 here. And then on this second line again, I'm going to take 11.5. And then I'm going to join the line together. It must be straight. This is the hip line. So now this is, I'm going to connect this line here to this hip line. And this is how to connect your hip line so that you don't have any pointy edge. A lot of my students, they have issues with how to connect the hips with the waist. Most of the time, it usually have a sharp end, which should not be. So I'm going to show you how you're going to connect it in a very good way. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your hip cuff, and you're going to place it this way. Make sure that when you place your hip cuff from here is aligning. It will align with this line, and make sure that it is connecting properly. You may not see what I'm doing now, but I am saying what I am doing. But just make sure that I will connect it and I will show you. So you can see now, if you look at it, you will see that the line runs directly into the line, and this side is straight. So this is how to avoid any sharp points. Now the next thing I want us to do is to input our darts. So from the front here, we'll go in by 4 inches. How did we get the 4 inches? Remember I told you our nipple to nipple measurement is 8. So we'll divide it by 2, which will give me 4 inches. So now, because we are going to have it on both sides, so this is my 4 inches, and I'm going to take ½ inch on both sides to take my dart. Now I'm going to come here and measure the same 4 inches because I want to have a straight line this way. My straight line goes up, but I'm not going to connect it here. I'm going to go up by 2 inches, which means that my dart is 5. So whatever your hip measurement is, go up by 2, and then that is just for you to have a smooth connection here, and then go up by 2 here to connect your dart. I hope you can see what I am doing right there. So our skirt is coming up. Now the next thing we need to do, let's go to the bottom part of our skirt. So for the bottom part of our skirt, we have different types of variation for the bottom side. Some people will say, oh, I need a straight skirt. How do you get a straight skirt? To get a straight skirt, you will take the same measurement you have on your hip. You will come to your full length and take that same measurement. Remember, the measurement I took there was 11.5. So we are going to take 11.5 here, and then I'm going to connect it to the hip. Now, this is me making a straight skirt. So most of the time, you're making skirt for elderly people or somebody that just said, I don't want any curve, I just want it straight. This is what you have. Now, this is the other variation. You can also go in from this lower part. You can also go in by 1 inch. Now we are talking about pencil skirt variation. So you can go in by 1 inch and connect that 1 inch to your hip line this way with your straight ruler. So now you have a pencil skirt, or you can decide to go in by 1.5 inches. You can add half to it. You can go in by 1.5. And then when you take it, this is also another variation of pencil skirt. For me, this is the one I like because most of the time, I don't like my skirts to be too pencil. I want to be a bit free. But at the same time, you can go in from this line and go in by 2 inches. And I'm telling you that for most people, 2 inches is just what they like to make their skirt pencil, and it comes out beautifully. So you can make use of any of these 3 variations. Trust me, you are good. So depending on the person that wants to wear the skirt, depending on what the person wants. So you can either use the first one, which is the straight skirt, the one I use my pencil for, or you can take 1 inch, 1.5 inches, or 2 inches. It will work perfectly well. So the next thing we are going to do right now is I will come back to our waistline. Now, look at this. Now, on the side here, you will go up following the same curve by ½ inch. By ½ inch, that is just to give your skirt a balance at the waist. And then in front here, if you have or you're working for somebody with a big tummy, you come here by 1 inch. But if the person does not really have a big tummy and the person is just okay, you can do ½ inch here. So what I mean is that ½ inch or 1 inch is okay. So now how do you connect this line here to this one? The first thing you will do is make sure that you close your dart before you connect the line. Don't forget. Make sure you close your darts. After closing your dart, you come in with your curve rule and you place it this way from this ½ inch that you have here, that you have raised it. You will connect it this way to your 1 inch. And if you are using the ½ inch, you will do the same thing. You will connect from this ½ inch to this ½ inch here. So I hope you can see that. So you can use your tracing wheel to do this, so that when you are cutting, it will show that there is a dart there. So I hope you can see what we have created. This is beautiful. This is the front part of our skirt. So this is the front part of our skirt. So we'll quickly move on to this is the front part of our skirt. This is our center front and this is our side front. So the next thing we'll do is to move on to the back. But before we move to the back, we have to cut this out. So I'm just going to cut it out right now so that the video will not be too long. I'll cut it out and then we'll continue. I'm here with the plain paper we are going to use for our back view. Now this is the front. I have cut out the front. Remember I told you that I'll be using the 1.5, I'll be using the 1.5 for my lower part. The owner of this skirt doesn't want to. So you work according to the person you are working for. So now this is the pattern paper I'm using for the back. So the first thing I did here was I created a borderline here. And then here I came in by 4 inches. It's just the borderline. and I have my reason for doing that. Now I'm going to bring my front pattern here and make sure that the line here, remember I told you that this line here, we are not going to cut it, it's on fold. So I'm going to put the line here. I will make sure it matches up with this line that I have ruled in front. And also this line here, not the 1 inch that I raised up, this line here, I will make sure that it's matching with this straight line here. So I'm going to match it up this way. I'm going to match it up this way, and I'm going to use my sellotape to hold it down. Nothing too serious, but just hold it down because I don't want it to move. Okay, so now that I have it the way it is, the next thing I want to do now is to explain how we are going to, this side here is just going to be exactly the same thing. Nothing is going to change. So let me rule it and follow the pattern I have here. I'm just following the pattern I have for the side. Nothing is going to change on this side of our skirt. I'm just following the lines here. Nothing is going to change. On the lower part too, I'm going to rule this side here. This side too is going to be the same length and nothing is going to change. Now, when we get here, I'm going to mark this place up here just to match up that line with the line we have up here. This is the dot line, and then I will try and put a mark here with my pin so that I can have the same line. This is going to show on the other side, the same line for my, then this line here, I will just connect this ½ inch that I went up by, I'll connect it to my dot line this way. You will see it when I bring it out. So now let's work on the bum illusion. That is why we are here today, bum illusion and the back vent. But first we are going to work on the bum illusion. Now, how do you get the bum illusion? Let me bring in my paper so that you can see. Now, if your hip is hip 40 and above, hip 40 and above, you are going to use 0.75 for your extension. If yours is less than 40, you are going to use 0.5 for your extension. Now, this is where we are going to put the extension. Where you have your hip line number 9 here, I'm going to extend it here because that is where I want to put my bum extension. And because the measurement I'm using is over 40, I'm just going to extend it this way. This is my 0.75 here. Now, the next thing I'm going to take is the length of my bum. Remember, we did the length. Remember, the bum length here is 14. So from the line here, from this straight line here, this is the line for our back skirt. I'm going to measure down my 14 inches this way. So this is where my 14 inches is going to be. And then I'm going to connect the lines together using my hip curve ruler to connect the line together. So this is how you do it with your hip curve to connect. Now, I used to tell my students, if you hurry and you are in a hurry and you don't sew well, I'm going to give you a BA. It's not a bachelor's degree, it is begin again. But if you take your time and you do it well, you are going to get a good result. I don't mark first to finish at the beginning. I mark the person that does well at the beginning. We are not rushing to do rubbish. We are going to do it right. So the next thing I want to tell you is about the extension for the vent. Now, that is why we need our length, the nail length. I told you we need our nail length. Now, from your nail length, you will go up by 3 inches from your nail length. you go up by 3 inches. This is 3 inches from my nail length, and then I am going to mark it out, straight line, 3 inches straight line, and then I'm going to measure on that line 2.5, and then on the lower part too, I'm going to mark 2.5. That is at the length of the skirt, 2.5, and then I'm going to connect my 2.5 together. So this is our extension. Now, is this standard? It depends on your client. This works for everybody. It is not revealing and it is not too small, but some people will still tell you, I want you to go up. Just walk by what your client wants. So I'm supposed to have 9 from here. So I'm just making sure. You see now, you should make sure that you have the exact. I like to measure, and then when you are doing yours, please make sure you use your pencil. I used to emphasize that use your pencil. Marker normally adds to measurement at times. So this is where it is. So now that we are done with this, I'm going to take off the front so that you can see the back, and then we'll finish up with the back. So this is the back. You can see our back is ready. So it's not totally ready. Sorry, let's mark the dart. You know, I put the dart point and it's showing for me here. So I can just mark the dart this way and mark the dart this way. This is our extension. This is our back, the illusion. This is our vent. So all we need to do now is to add our seam allowance, and then we will sew. There is one thing I want to show you. I'm using this back to show you now. You can add your seam allowance when you are cutting your fabric, and you can add your seam allowance on your pattern. It depends on you, but I want to add it on this pattern because this is a plain paper. You can see it well, unlike when it's on the fabric. So now from here, I'm going to add 1/2 inch. This 1/2 inch is our sewing allowance that we are going to use to turn. We'll use it to turn it up here, to turn our skirt. Remember that this skirt does not have a band. So we are going to do it in. Now on the back side here, I'm going to add 1 inch. 1 inch here for my allowance. Now I'm doing this on camera so that you can see it and follow the curve. You have to follow this curve. This 1 inch curve. Here is where we are going to take our zip allowance. This is where the zip is going to be. So here you come straight this way. Straight this way till you get to the vent. We don't need allowance for the vent. We already added it. So you can see, let me use my pencil. So this comes this way. This is where our zip is going to be. This is our zip allowance. This 1/2 inch here is going to be for our, this 1/2 inch here is going to be for our turning, to turn up the with the lining, to turn up. And on this side here, we are going to use 1 inch. The same way you are going to follow this line. Make sure you follow it all the way down to the bottom. Please, you can use your tape rule to get an accurate measurement. Use your tape rule to get it accurately. If you can eyeball it, good, but if not, please use your. Now, on the bottom side here, I'm going to add to my front. I'm going to add to the front too. I'm going to add my 1/2 inch. Now, by the time I want to cut on the fabric, I'm going to show you everything because we are going to place this on the fabric, cut it together and sew it together. So here, you will see me, I'm going to add 1 inch by the side here, the center, the side. I'm going to add 1 inch. I'm going to add 0.5 here. I'm going to add On the bottom side here, I'm adding 1.5. Now this place is going to be on fold, so we are not going to have any sewing allowance here. So on the bottom side here, I'm going to add 1.5 inches for the allowance here. I'm going to add 1.5 inches for the allowance. We are using lining. So we are going to turn it in with lining. So that's the final thing I'm going to explain to you on this episode before we go to the cutting and the sewing of these beautiful skirts. Now I'm teaching you as if I'm teaching beginners, so please pay attention. So there's something I'm going to tell you about the lining. So now when you are cutting, I'm using those back as an example now. When you are cutting, now this is me cutting the side of the skirt. Pay attention. I have a reason why I am doing this on camera. Now, this is the other side of the back side of the skirt, the center. This is the center back of the skirt. I have a reason why I'm doing this on camera. Please pay attention. Now, when you want to cut the lower side, don't cut straight like that. Let me remove. Now, when you want to cut this lower side, you remember that this is our sewing allowance, 1.5. This is the skirt length. My skirt length is here, and my skirt length is 36, I think. My skirt length is 27. So this is where my skirt length gets to. This 1.5 is the allowance we added for lining to turn it in. So when you get to this place, all you need to do is fold it in on the original line here. Fold it in, fold the allowance in like this. Fold it in. See the way I folded it in? Fold it in like this. Fold it in before you cut. Now, this is my allowance at the back. Before you cut. I hope you get that. On this side too, fold it in before you cut. There is a reason. Now, let me bring it out. You can see this side now, I can cut it off. This is the length. This one, we don't need it. But before you cut this place, you have to fold it in this way. Before you cut. I hope you understand what I mean. So thank you for watching. If there is any question, please meet me at the comment section for your questions. So I'm going to add my necessary seam allowance all through. I've added for this place already. So I'm going to cut off this place and I'm going to add for this place. Now let me explain the lining before we go, because I'm not going to explain that again. Now this is the explanation for the lining. The lining we are going to use this is the lining we are going to use for this dress. Now pay attention. If you are going to use, if the extension you have here, if the extension you have on your skirt is 1.5, if you added 1.5, you will say 1.5, that's the extension, 1.5 times 2, which will give me 3. And then you are going to minus 0.5, and it will give me 2.5. So it means that my lining is going to be 2.5 shorter than my skirt. So if I place this to cut my fabric, this is my length, this is my allowance. If I want to cut my skirt lining, I'm going to cut it the same and then remove 2.5. I hope you understand that. Well, I'm going to show you that again by the time I'm cutting the lining. So if your extension is 2, you just say 2 times 2 will give you 4. 4 minus 0.5 will give you 3.5. So it means you are going to cut 3.5 from your lining, from the original length. So I'm going to show you that by the time we start with the cutting. So I hope you have learned. Thank you for watching. Bye.